Welcome back to the Super Not Funny Show reviews. And today I'm reviewing the Afterparty Season 2, Episodes 8, 9, and 10. They're entitled Fang, Isabel, and Vivian and Zoe. And it's all coming to you from Apple TV Plus. So, what did I think about it? And should you be watching? And before we get into the review, get down there, hit like on this video. Look, I admit I fell off of this show the last few weeks, not because I hadn't been watching, just some things kept me from really reviewing this, and I figure rather than making you all listen through, to 3 episodes, I'll just do one condensed one where we wrap up the last 3 episodes of this show this season, and just kind of give you my overall impression of the season in general. So we start off with episode 8, Fang, and it's all, found footage. So there's actually, we've been seeing the so-called mind movies of Danner as we're listening to people tell their stories. But this time, no mind movies. We just have, basically Instagram or, social media footage being shot by Skylar. Well, it's not Skylar. Was that the guy's name? Whatever his name was. The young guy that Fang hired to kind of document everything. And this is all about Fang and his, his attempts to not only pull off a good wedding for Grace, but also to potentially get some investment from Edgar, who, as we know, was a tech billionaire who's, he's got this whole Bucephalus, cryptocurrency thing going on. And I think this recurring thing I think we'll see across these episodes that Edgar wasn't as cool a dude as we thought. He's definitely a weirdo, but not as good a dude maybe as we thought. In this particular one, though, Fang is sort of battling his inner demons of, the fact that his business is not going great, that he actually is in debt, and we saw he gets his truck impounded and everything, but he's really keen on selling this whole, Bing Bong thing. I'm probably saying this wrong. Bao Bing, excuse me. Selling that to Edgar to get some investment, and so a lot of it is just him, being sort of not even shut down, but like being kind of pushed out by his brother, that of course he has a big problem with because of Vivian, and also just everything sort of not going his way across the episode. What does come across though, that Fang is, deeply in love with Vivian, that he's doesn't want to disappoint her. That's why he hasn't really told her about his money problems, and that he's swinging for the fences in this particular one, but also having to deal with Ulysses is just throwing him off of his game. Everything seems to just sort of come up in a way that makes him feel lesser than, and we really see a motivation, I suppose, for Fang to kill Edgar, but honestly, it's not super strong. Like, the Edgar at the end doesn't like his Bao Bing, and that's that. But we do see that everyone else at the party does like it, and that the Ulysses is really his problem. That's like, the whole thing with Vivian and everything like that. Especially that he catches them out, talking to each other and everything, and this whole idea of he hasn't he's not really thinking about Grace not being his daughter, but he is thinking about the fact that when she went to have her first daddy, or her dance without Edgar, when he just kind of leaves, that rather than him doing it, Ulysses does. So it very much is about the kind of the love triangle going on between them, and him accepting, defeat, I guess you could say, with Edgar not wanting to invest, and but still being like, I guess, hopeful the next day when that all comes together. So, like, overall, I thought it was a cool episode. I didn't love it, but I thought it was cool, especially because I think Ken Jeong getting a feature, that's a fun day overall. And we actually got to see unedited and unvarnished looks at what was actually going on, which is, in this show, is helpful because there's a lot of people telling their story, and it's all cinematic, but it doesn't necessarily tell you who the hell killed anybody. So moving on to Isabel. So this is about Edgar's mother and the lead up to her son's wedding and eventual death, and it's all told in like an old 50s Hitchcockian sort of way, and it's in very much the same way, much overacted and fun, shots and close-ups and all that other fun stuff, and the color palette and everything. It's fun because Travis actually fits in here as just like a regular old dude, as the way he is, with the suspenders and hat and all that stuff. Um, but this is really about the story of Isabel and being paranoid as hell. Again, reminders that this is about us figuring, like, is Edgar was he just a weirdo or is he a douchebag? And this episode seems to indicate he's a douchebag because, his own mom is just like convinced that he's, basically gaslighting her. And in fact, I would say that the way that this story is told is very much an homage to that old movie about that, where the term gaslighting comes from, where she's being made to feel crazy and weird and everything, in the year after her husband's death. And so there's all these coincidences, weird noises and all that other stuff that's going on as she feels like she's losing her mind. And then that actually accounts for all the weird, strange behavior and just like her attitude and the way she's trying to maintain that nothing's wrong, throughout the whole show. We've kind of been like, what's wrong, what's her deal? Is she just weird like her son? Well, maybe not. Maybe she's had a year of just having her nerves and everything unravel and fray. But we do see, and I will say at the end of this, did she have, she felt like she, at the start she says that she killed her son, or really it felt like she feels like she accidentally did it because he was trying to kill her. And there's plenty of evidence of him actually just gaslighting her and for whatever reason, and trying to keep her under wraps or whatever. Maybe he's just trying to get back at her because of the whole Grace thing, that she's not accepting Grace. But at the end of it, I feel like, yes, we know more about her. I still don't like her character. She sucks, but she doesn't suck as much, and she sucks really mainly because at the end of it, she's like, well, Grace, you couldn't have done it. There's no way. But then when Anik sort of points out that, like, well, he couldn't have had poison cake because he died. He didn't die, or start acting weird right after that. It was like an hour or so later when the after party was going on. As soon as she said that, like, oh, Grace Doley did it just in time for her sheriff buddy to show up, which leads us to episode 10, where Vivian and Zoe are sort of, I don't want to say telling their story, but they're definitely telling their part. They're telling their story, but they're telling their parts kind of separately. Zoe, she's she kind of gets cornered by Danner and Anik about thinking that she's a real suspect, and thank God for Anik that she thinks she's talking about the dog, that she killed the dog. But this does lead to some good information about that she definitely wasn't on the scene when Edgar was poisoned. That she did, she thought that the dog, she had killed the dog, but instead, the dog's still very much alive. And so that then leads us to ask what was up with Vivian and what was she up to? What were all the things going on? And essentially that, it's played out like some really terrible, like 80s or early 90s, like telenovela, but not really, steamy drama or something like that. Again, this is about the love triangle, which is important later on, when Vivian reveals like what was really said between her and Ulysses and everything, and that she had no plans to ever leave, to leave Fang, and that it was all over between them, and that she sort of contradicts some of the things that Ulysses said because, at the end of this, of course, we point to the actual killer, and the killer wasn't aiming for Edgar. Edgar's death was an accident. And someone who kind of pointed the finger earlier, it turned out that while they were casually, sort of pointing at somebody to sort of be like, it wasn't me, they actually were pointing at the right person. And if you called Ulysses as the killer, hey, good for you. And if you called why he killed Edgar, I bet you didn't. Get out of here. I didn't call this one, but also I mainly wasn't really, aiming at anyone in particular. But it turns out that Ulysses was actually trying to kill Fang because of his, desire to get back with Vivian, to get Fang out of the way so Vivian would be his lover. And of course, it's always the nice guys, right? His little hippy dippy, world traveler thing sort of actually put him out because once we realized that the motivation had nothing to do with Edgar, that Edgar was an unfortunate, casualty of something else going on, it became clear that, of course, Fang was the target. That Ulysses had all the opportunity and motive and everything, which explains why the whole affair and everything coming out was so important earlier in the season. Um, and it, of course, they Fang, not Fang, Ulysses does the whole, oh, it didn't, that's real great, where's your evidence and all that other stuff. And Vivian comes through, daring him basically to let her drink poison, or to otherwise, uh, let her die if he wants to actually, pretend like he didn't actually do it. And so, at the end of it, I'll have to say, wasn't totally satisfied with this, with the bad guy reveal or whatever. It wasn't really nefarious. It was a crime of opportunity and everything that he could have gotten away with it, if he had a opportunity, or maybe if he had just, I don't know, rinsed out his stupid horn. That probably would have saved him also. And so, it all wraps up quite nice and tidily. And of course, Hannah and Grace, they're gonna try to do their thing together, and everyone gets their little happy ending, I guess. Even Grace being like, she gets $1 million instead of inheriting all of the money and whatever. And Sebastian, he doesn't get a happy ending because he's an idiot. He sells off the Bucephalus stocks, but instead he gets one up by Travis doing a meme stock to sort of ruin his short selling, and he gets fired. Of course, now he's back to being a regular old loser again. But the big things were Anik and Zoe basically, you know, what is it? Not just professing their love for each other, but they really go ahead and propose to each other, and that's all. It's very cute and everything like that. We're supposed to like them as a couple, and it's been weird because the whole season they've been sort of at odds because trying to investigate this mystery. And then Dana realizes that, hey, I don't want to write a book. I want to make movies. And so the very last scene is them on the set of, I think it's 6 months later or a year later, and they're on the scene on the set with Dana as the directing her the movies about her, solving the murder from the first season. And it's a fun little bit. I love that at the very end they got, just for the final scene, Kiki Palmer and Jaleel White to come in. That's fun stuff. And they got Elijah Wood, which was, I wasn't expecting that. Didn't call that one ever at all. But it was still fun and cool. So it just really makes you wonder, like, is the next season gonna be on the set, or are they gonna, they got another mystery away from there? Because you got to bring Dana back, and she's at the top of the world. I predict that she's gonna have directed, produced whatever this movie about her being a detective, and it's gonna bomb. And so now she's really gonna need another thing to kind of make it work. But we'll see. We also see Danner as engaged to Jaleel White. Hey, sure, dreams can come true. So overall, you know what? I had a good time with this season. I think it had a 2 or 3 episodes in there. I know one that I was just like, whatever with this episode. Another couple that were all right. Most of them were really good. They were quite fun. I will say though that kind of the novelty of doing mind movies, different genre movies, I think it may be wearing thin on me. So I'm not sure how and where they can go in the next season. Like how many more styles can you ape? How many more kind of movies can you really do a pastiche of or make fun of or anything like that? I'm not really sure. I saw the limits of it in this season, and so I'm holding out hope. I'm going to try to have high hopes that next season they will figure out how to make this whole gimmick fresh and interesting and new. Because I really like this show and I really don't want it to fall off in the third season. So anyway, those are my thoughts on the final 3 episodes of this season and the season in general. But what did you guys think about them? And what did you think about the show overall? Whatever your thoughts are, get down to the comment section and leave them there. And of course, you can always hit me up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. And while you're down there, do me a favor, hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. All that good stuff helps to grow this channel, help more people to see these reviews. All right, thanks for joining me. Come back to the channel. We got plenty more things to review, and we got a podcast, so check all that good stuff out. Until then, I've been Mo, your commentator extraordinaire on all things pop culture, and I'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.